Hello everyone, I'm Silverraptor and welcome to Warno. Yes, I am finally playing it. After all those teases and Wargame Red Dragon games of practicing for Warno and everything, I have finally decided to kick the bucket and play Warno. I know it's been a while, not going to bore you, but basically between life and Warno not kind of being in a beta and new content and nothing finalized, never found my way to play it. But now it seems to be finalized enough and they're getting close to release enough. And I'm going to finally try this out. And I'm going to be trying this out with Boltsauce, fellow YouTuber from Wargame Red Dragon. He's actually the name of Harry Spotter. He'll be playing a French unit, the 5th Division. So he'll be playing over here and taking over this little segment here on this river map that the river cuts it in half, kind of similar to 38's parallel, 38's perpendicular, where a river cuts in half, except it's all windy and twisty. So I am actually going to be playing the 8th Infantry Mech Division. And of course I want to get across the river, secure this town, and get a bridgehead across the river so that we are able to apply pressure onto this area. This will be the most dangerous part because the enemy can choke this off. But anyways, let's get started with this now. So I've got a bunch of units all prepared with these roads. Got orders preset and everything, learning all of those. I also have some helicopters. Now in Warno, which is different from Wargame Red Dragon, is that helicopters can no longer be spawned in the air. They always have to be on the ground. So that's the only downside. I had a few recon units ahead. I didn't give all the orders to everyone. Like I said, I am still kind of new to this game. Also, the sound effects are a lot louder than I realized they were. But again, I was zoomed out. So I'm going to have to fiddle with the sound effects. Got an MI-8T. It says rockets on it. So I am aware of that. I do have the OH-8058C here. Can I... Oh yeah, I can just click on them. So I was going to try to engage with my Stinger. It does look like Yellow Cossack decided to come in with his Phantom 2. Took out that one MI-8T. The other one is flying over to the right, so I instantly readjust my OH. The Tow Cobra and the Scout, which is scouting for it, are going to be taking out all sorts of different vehicles and such that are going over here and basically cut off the enemy's push from getting into this building complex here while I'm getting everything across. So I've got a command, M60A3, not so much because I think that I was going to engage with them, but because I wanted it to be artillery proof. And it really looks like I forgot about that recon. Oops. Yep. You can tell I am noob at this game. My AH-58, for some reason, hasn't engaged against the Mi-8T. Oh, that's why, because it landed. So, anyways, he can't take off. The moment he does, I'm going to kill him, and he can't stay because Nubblers is going to get there. And there he goes. He's starting to take off. And my OH should be able to engage that pretty soon. If not, the Bradley will definitely kill it at least this close range. Over here, Tow Cobra is continuing to keep the enemy back. Nice hit on a T-55, it looks like. And it looks like they unloaded a recon unit. I don't know why this is not shooting the helicopter. I'm guessing that that was part of like the game's not completely finished yet. But the Tow Cobra still engaging with its ITO. There we go. Finally, it fires its 2 Stinger. It was one hit, but the other didn't, and so that's the end of that. Buck came and shot down my Scout. I see that a little too late, as another missile actually shoots down both Cobras simultaneously because they're flying too close together. So that was unfortunate. The fortunate part is I remembered that I had a recon here that I forgot about. So got an Abrams here to secure and just continue pushing up along here. Now you're probably thinking, what are these Humvees and M151 doing going back? Well, I'm selling them. I can convert these points into points that I can then spend for other units. So that's a cool feature that I do like. M1A1 engaging against T80B, which smoked up. that is another thing. Tanks have their own smoke. The command is B, and that I became familiar with real quickly. So my Tow 2 here is again engaging the T-55A2. Looks like it hit the side of the bridge here. Let's go to reacquire. Fire again. And as he's making a push across. Another hit against the side of the river. So they're continuing to fire across. There's another tow missile. Is this one finally going to hit? No, just keeps hitting the side of the river. Anyways, my M113s and scouts and everything are engaging against this infantry that they're pushing across. And Tow 2 finally killed that T-55. Su-22M used its air-to-ground missile to kill my Abrams here. But anyways, these infantry are so badly taken out or peppered up that they're now routing and falling back, especially with these 50 cals. Now you're probably thinking, why do you have 50 cal infantry? Don't these M113s have it? Yes, but they don't have it in buildings, which actually greatly helps us out. You could actually give them a little more creative positions and line of sight inside buildings, as well as just providing some really good fire support as well. So now they're in full retreat. You saw that they tried to capture my zone a little bit, and then they pulled it back out. I'm not sure what they were trying to do, because I wasn't applying any pressure on that. They might have thought that I didn't have my CV in here, because you can, once you capture a zone, you don't need to have a CV to keep the zone captured. So they may have tried that, but other than that, I am not sure. Too new to this game. So I've got a recon over here. I definitely need to reinforce it. I'm going to correct my mistake with 2 chaparrals. I don't have anything like Hawks in this game, in this deck that I have with the 8th Infantry. I mean, they do, but they're deployable ones, and I just ultimately decided just for chaparrals might be good enough, and just went with doubling down on air superiority fighters for my air defense. I've got Abrams and Bradley to spot for it, as well as the chaparral here, and I'm just beginning to basically prepare up all of my forces, dropping down a Black Hawk with supply. So, also trying out the mortars. And I was trying to see how accurate these mortars are. Answer is, not very. So that was unfortunate. My Tow 2 managed to find and kill the Beryusa, so that was good. So the enemy has put in another CV to neutralize this zone. So we are at a +0 to +2 on the enemy side. We've got some Washutsen who are coming across with Scorpions and Satchel Charges. Satchel Charges are very close range. They're basically backpacks filled with explosives and infantry shootout. But Brennis is here. It should be engaging any moment now, but at least my LRS is also going to be engaging against them. And I do have an Abrams coming, but they're a little bit off. One thing I was definitely trying to learn is that not all infantry have RPGs in this game. And I keep forgetting that sometimes, so I'm very cautious with my infantry. Brennis is taking a hit by the Metis team and some infantry fire here, so it's not in a happy place. Metis team, he actually uses his smoke to stop it, so, but unfortunately he did lose it to the artillery anyway. My LRS are doing a good job stopping off these Washutsen, but the Washutsen are getting closer. Obviously, to throw their satchel charges, I can do MAV. 11 is greater than 6, so I immediately start retreating the LRS and bring up my AH-1F Cobra with its Gatling gun and double the Hydra rockets to be able to fire and take out these infantry, as the M1 Abrams is basically driving across this bridge at full speed and engaging the infantry that it sees. The Wartson is trying to get across the forest. My LRS hit both by the Abrams are going to take back into position and try to spot the infantry. Again, I probably could have run this a lot closer, but I was trying to be extra cautious, thinking that these might have RPGs on them. I'm bringing up the Cobra with the Gatling. This actually reminded me a lot of like the cheap helicopter. I forgot the exact Cobra model, but it only had twin miniguns and rocket pods. That was good at just clearing out infantry, so that's what I was primarily trying to use this for. The Abrams takes up the position again, and I have chaparrals ready in case another plane comes, as well as targeting the Metis team that was giving trouble against Boltsauce's units here. Now, Bolt is basically cloudy with a chance of artillery and mortars. It's like a 100% heavy rain of this stuff. It's all game. It's like this, just constant artillery from their side, from him, from them, from him, just constant artillery. He got battered hard. He even asked us to start providing artillery, so it turned into a huge artillery duel over there on that side. Now Nubther's tried to move forward a little bit, but looks like an Mi-24 is using its rocket pods to try to push him back. And it looks like the enemy did get across the river. Yellow Cossack has rallied and got some Bradleys and Abrams. He's playing with the 3rd Armored. Yes. So, Bradleys and Abrams. He's basically playing a U.S. Armored deck, similar to that from Wargame Red Dragon. The Abrams is having a missile fly at it. Took a huge hit. I probably would have deployed smoke to try to get that taken care of. It was a Fago who hit it, and it's now routed because of that. But fortunately, the first hit, it may have hit on the side, but the second hit in the front, so it was able to survive that. Over here, they've got an Su-25 AT. I bring in my Fighting Falcon in order to be able to take that out.
Winchester,
Got us kill and try to switch around, trying to get to the Su-22M. Chaparral manages to hit it, but unfortunately I did get my F-16 killed by a radar AA, as PVADs are able to secure the kill later. I have a Thunderbolt coming over to help with Cossacks, but I think I actually forgot about it because I told it to go after the T-80UD, and then I went off to focus on some other part of the fight because it's probably just, if I recall, I realized, I said, whoops, I forgot about that when it said, you lost your plane. Not sure what entirely he's shooting at. But, yep, he's just going to fly around until he dies. I remember that from when I played the game. I'm trying to move up and take over this forest area here. As you can see, I've got Hemmetschützen, which are the Hemmetschützen militia, similar to that in Wargame Red Dragon. They have this reservist, which means that they take more suppression in combat, which is this little bar here, their cohesion. But that's why I have the military police, which I've decided to try to remove the unsteady trait in this little radius that's inside, but also restore grant suppression regeneration, which basically increases cohesion again. So I really like this mechanic of having like military police to just try to instill order and discipline in your army, and especially nullifying militia themselves, just kind of give like a unique combination. Because Hemmetschützen, they're not the best infantry, but they have 11 strengths, and that's actually pretty high for infantry. And they're actually pretty cheap at 35. You'll probably look at that and say 35. Yeah, the points are a lot more in Warno, I discovered pretty quickly. But yep, going to be using Hemmetschützen to try to soak up enemy fire while also trying to back up with tanks. This is a wide open field. We're going to need lots of tanks in order to supply that. Yellow Cossack is continually prepared to try to figure out how to take Alpha. The enemy's at a +1 points lead. I'm flying an F-111. I forgot exactly what that was, what I was calling it for, but it did die. You may have noticed for a moment, and I discovered this in the fight later as well, it flew over this military police. Now, as you can see, this icon means that the unit's suffering or is under the effect of the military police ability of suppression regeneration. Well, when the plane flew over it, for a moment it had that symbol, meaning it was getting suppression regeneration, cohesion bonus, as it just flew over that one moment of the military police. And I think that's funny. And that's kind of like the unfinished, polished touches of the game that I'm talking about. But I mean, it's an early access game. I can't rib on it for that. I've developed games before. I know the whole process. I tried to sneakily get my Chaparral across. Unfortunately, it's taken out by the ATGM. So these guys are weak to enemy planes. So I am aware of that. A couple of the enemy's 50 cals have to go and retreat. As, yeah, we're bringing in artillery. I have some M109 Paladins. I don't know if they're officially the Paladins, but they're the M109s that we know and love from Wargame Red Dragon. Kind of the best artillery this deck has. Each deck has access to different units and such. In some ways I find it annoying, but in other ways I find it exciting, like unique ways of making all the units and everything. They're actually dropping smoke, which clues me into, okay, they're going to be launching an attack. At first I thought they were going to be actual artillery, but then I realized, oh no, this is smoke. So I do a quick readjustment. I'm moving the Bradley up a bit, as well as the heavy shoots and military police over here to cover for the Abrams, because I, again, saw all infantry have RPGs like a Wargame Red Dragon. I thought they were going to try to get close so that the Abrams to try to take it out. So I was going to open the heavy shoots in, was going to soak up the fire, get all the machine guns and fire on them, and then the Abrams could then come in and engage with its machine guns and main gun and heavy armor of 17. So artillery is also in the waiting. We've got an enemy fighter jet, looks like an SU-22 that probably says napalm. So it comes in, it gets destroyed, and as you can see, still the artillery fire keeps coming back. The counter battery and battery. It was just a black cloud on Boltsauce the whole game, but he stuck with it. He held out. That was amazing. So I'm bringing up more reinforcements, Abrams, Bradleys, these M113 ACAVs, and I actually like this. It has, let me see if I can switch to this. It's got a recoilless rifle, as well as a 50 cal and the M240, so it's got a lot of capability as a vehicle. My heavy shooter did intercept. As you can see, there's a lot of enemy infantry that tried to come up. I had the Cobra also help out with its rocket pods as the enemy brings forward a whole bunch of tanks. And this clued me in that, okay, this is going to be taken out. Variosa was going after the Cobra. I wisely withdraw that. Seeing all this stuff, I wisely realized, you know what? Another day, we're going to go back. Missiles are coming in against the Abrams, and it actually hit, and a little late I deployed the smoke. Like I said, I'm still learning all the things, but I got it anyway, so they can't follow up with any more actual missiles. So they're actually bringing in artillery and such on me. I'm using mortars, which are somewhat inaccurate, following that way as well. The Abrams and stuff all get out of range. The ACAV is going to use its optics with its Bradley as the scouts move over here. At least I can be able to see pretty well on this open field, I feel. ATGM is coming from my Bradley, trying to engage this tank force. Bradley engaging with the TOW 2, but also finally deploys smoke as the missile barely misses it. My scouts are being under heavy fire from these tanks, and after being stunned for a bit, I moved up the Abrams, which also got stunned, and then a missile comes in and misses. And then enough hits finally took out the Abrams. The Abrams armor is good, but it's not invulnerable. And then they just stopped the scout from getting across, so. Now, I was worried that they were going to actually push forward and just completely collapse my front line, but no, they actually withdraw. They only took slight damage. If I was him and I destroyed an Abrams and everything, I would have just charged forward to see what fired back, because nothing was firing back other than my Bradley. And but he seemed to fall back a bit, tried to reconsolidate his position, and that gave me time. And time is what I needed, because I was bringing up Abrams to reinforce. And it looks like they're following them with a Buratino attack. Thermobaric missiles are on the way, and they actually killed the Bradley with those thermobaric missiles. So that's actually pretty impressive. The zone has been decapped. As my mortars are trying to engage something I saw across there, but as you can see, they're not. This mortar is not very accurate, so I might revisit of what I want for my mortar support in the future. Anyways, so 3 Abrams are on the way. Nubzers managed, with the help of Yellow Cossacks, managed to push his way across into Alpha and secure it. And he actually has a command tank actually in the front. Why would you do this? Well, anybody around the command tank and the zone around the command tank will actually gain an extra veterancy for free while they're in the zone. Now the enemy does have the tanks in position, so smoke's popped as they're in retreat. This one doesn't pop in smoke. He might actually be out. That is something I wish they would say if they have a canister of if the smoke was available for the Abrams to deploy. An Mi-19 CV tries to come over, but that gets shot down with triple PVADs. So managed to successfully get across the river. That might have distracted the enemy temporarily. A Wild Weasel's coming across to scout for radar AA. One actually fires at it, a buck, and it didn't actually detect it, so it gets shot down by that. That's unfortunate. Fighting Falcon came. It just fired a Sparrow missile at the SU-25, so doesn't have the AMRAAMs that we all know and love. It's got the semi-active Sparrow missile, semi-active guidance. It's not fire and forget. But it does take out the SU-25, so I was able to help Nubthers and such on that. I'm not really pushing up. Like, again, I'm a noob. I'm scared of what the enemy could do. I don't know all the units yet, and so I am just making sure I have overwhelming force. As you can see, I have all these Abrams and these Bradleys prepared, and my Hammershooten finally do die. The Nubthers brings up an M1A1 for the CV in this zone, and I'll be honest, I wasn't paying attention to Nubthers at all. So what you're going to see is an attack where he pushes forward and I push forward roughly at the same time, but we didn't coordinate it, and it just happened completely by coincidence. So, like I said, I'm not paying attention to him. I'm dropping some artillery against the 50 cal that I saw here, and I was basically thinking to myself, I want to just push, just to see what the enemy had. Probably, I saw this. I saw the enemy here, and I just sought to go forward, and I had blinders on. I didn't notice this until after the attack was over, that Nubthers had these units here and they were moving up. So I'm just like, oh, well, that was a coordinated attack. Or basically I'm reinforcing up Nubthers. Taking out at C-64BV. My other Abrams moves up, manages to take that out as the Bradley also comes forward. I'm moving up my OH-58C to try to take out the Mi-8T, which I know they'll try to use to stop my tank if I don't get rid of them. I am mindful of their AA, but I did expect to lose this anyway, so that is what's probably going to happen. And Abrams took a huge hit from the Metis team over here, but I'm just going to keep charging forward so that the 50 cals can hit them. Abrams took a huge hit, but as you can see, I'm going to continue this 1-2 push with Nubthers here and me here, just constantly pushing against the Metis team. I recall this guy back so that he can repair up and resupply, bringing up a Hempt here. My AA helicopter does die, and the Abrams do take out the Metis. And I didn't realize this. I wasn't until later that I was told. Metis team have a minimum range, so driving forward like I did actually got them within the minimum range of the Metis team, so they couldn't fire their anti-tank missiles to kill these Abrams. I was only trying to get them up so I could get all the machine guns onto bear and try to kill them and stun them up as fast as possible so they couldn't use those missiles. I didn't know that they couldn't use their missile for a different reason. Looks like my Abrams manages to kill the CV on there, so I can successfully capture this zone. And we are successfully basically pushing the enemy right out of this side of the river. And remember, you want to, if you lose your foothold across the river, it is very hard to cross the river and capture the zone again. To get a foothold on the side of the river. The rivers are very good defensive locations. Boltsauce is pushing pretty hard here, basically getting across the river here to help break off this choke point. A wild weasel's being chased by Zoo Render, but it gets right into the range of my Chaparrals and F-16, so that does take it out. Looks like the Sparrow was used. The F-16's out of missile, so I'm going to evac it, as my Chaparrals are firing, but the Su-22 does manage to get away. The ECM was good enough to keep it from doing that. The M1 Abrams are right up at the edge of the river, treating what they could shoot at, possibly, whereas Nubthers went completely balls to the walls. But I'm not going to do that. I got them across the river. We have basically control of these zones. They only have a small area that they can put CVs in. And I was going to rely on my artillery and such if they tried to do that. But I needed to prepare and relax. And as you can see, I haven't really moved this. This has been an entire blob of units. I even brought in some more Hammershooten that I completely and promptly forgot about. The enemy is dropping artillery on my, basically rocket cluster munitions on my artillery, and I failed to notice that I didn't give them a Q command to move after firing the last time. So our cluster artillery is somewhat on target, but they're not very accurate. They're not doing much against these artillery. which I had somewhat forgotten about. They're actually setting the place on fire too, so that's interesting. Fighting Falcons up and running again. Going up against the Su-22.
It's too hot here.
And the Su-22 does get away where my F-16 does get shot down. I do kill the MiG-23ML in revenge as the MiG-31M retreats, returns home. And here's a supply truck. I think this is my supply truck. Yeah, so this was captured. I am aware that there's enemy here. I do have another Abrams and some actual Stinger teams coming up so that we can secure this side of the river. Abrams is in position to try to shoot at any enemy that comes forward. Going to try to back up a little bit. Manages to deal a bit of damage, but it does get taken out, so I do need to be prepared for that. I didn't know what the enemy was, so I just decided to blow up the supply truck so that the enemy doesn't get the benefit of it. My Stingers are going over pretty quickly. I didn't quite realize, and I figured I was going to lose them. But no enemy was actually here, so I don't know how that supply truck actually got captured. But I still use that T-64 BVs, and I figured up they're going to shoot at them. So I unload them here in this forest and see if I can just sneak them across to try to get into the proper buildings. And they seem to be in retreat themselves. Bring up some supplies because my chaperones are running out of ammo. Unlike a war game, which they have 12 ammo to drop on, these guys only have 4. So you need to have a supply truck following these around everywhere, which is a little troubling because there's actually no FOBs currently in the game. They are going to put that soon, but basically supply trucks is all you're going to get. No going back and forth with the logistics and resupplying the supply truck and moving the supplies where you need it. It's what you bring is what you have. I do like how in this replay, with it having on my field of view, that actually shows what I have in the aircraft tab. Now that I've pushed the enemy back here, and I've got the Abrams and stuff ready for a counterattack if they try to cross the river, I'm actually doing an attack here with Abrams. Simultaneously, I'm bringing an F-16 with cluster, try to see if that could happen. And he doesn't actually drop his cluster munition, so he gets shot down right off the bat, which was annoying. But oh well. Abrams are going to be going across. I didn't expect too much infantry in here, and I actually was surprised to find that there was very little in here. But looks like there was an enemy infantry. There's the Metes. But again, too close. The Metes cannot engage with his ATGM. So the Abrams are actually at quite the advantage with all of their machine guns and fire. A BMP tried to fire his ATGM at his M1A1. I used the smoke to break the line of sight, and the ATGM went flying as I tried to go and kill the BMP. Metis team fires and kills the Chaparral, which was annoying. And this M1 Abrams gets hit by another ATGM team over here. But as my M1 Abrams are moving across, they're trying to kill off these Jaeger and Machschützen. Kills off the Jaeger Metis team, as well as these just Machschützen with BTRs. These do have an RPG with a penetration of 18, but the M1 Abrams armor of 17 should be able to take those RPGs no problem. The other one's trying to retreat, but falls into the trap of Boltsauce's 50 caliber machine gun, as well as a couple of his Brennises that are lying in wait. And then the M1 A1 gets up as well. So we do a nice pincer maneuver, but the M1 A1 was starting to deploy smoke, but it was a little too late, so I only have one Abrams left. I have to go and fall back, but I'm bringing up the recon. This is the next step of securing a position. I just need to reinforce it. And now it would make me feel comfortable to push up along this side to try to take out what unit is trying to capture the zone, because I know that they're not here. So it has to be along this line that they have a CV contesting our zone. I'm bringing up the ACAV with its optics in order to be able to help spot for Nubzers here. He has his M1 Abrams back pretty far, and I figured, hey, my ACAV should be able to shoot across this river with its recoilless rifle and 50 cal, as well as I'm going to try to bring the inaccurate mortar and try to fire against these Multistroki as well. Yep, firing its everything against the Multistroki, giving it a line of sight for the Abrams, which is also going to be firing, forcing the infantry to fall back, as we're basically, like I said, once it's been reset, we've got the river the dividing line between everything. Now they captured this because we didn't have a CV in here to prevent any capture. So Yellow Cossack is bringing forward another CV squad. The enemy is launching massive tank barrage. I think I lost another Abrams here as my LRS is just going to provide recon. My supply and Chaparral are going to try to fast move back down this road into this forest, see if they can survive. I unload my Unimogs, the Hemishutes out of my Unimog in case they're going to be needed to slow down the enemy by providing bodies. Chaparral dies as well as the supply. I figured they might, but I was going to try to get them away if I could. As my artillery is firing, it's also running out of ammunition and fuel, but I do have my supply stuff around here. Unimogs, I'm selling. The tanks are not engaging, so this doesn't look like they target unarmored supply trucks right away. TOW-2 missile is preparing to fire, while I have an M35 supply truck to keep that supplied. TOW managed to take out a T-80B as the enemy is moving up. My Dragon teams are also engaging, and that's something I also found interesting. You can put different types of units in the same building complex, which is what I did, so I can have basically a 50 cal, recon, and Dragons team covering here, with the Dragons team followed by a couple of Rangers from post range if that's need to be. The Abrams and TOW Cobra have come out. They're doing so much damage against the enemy with the Dragons and the TOW-2. This tank push is being a tank don't. That was bad. I apologize as the enemy is in retreat. My TOW Cobra is out of rockets, but not out of ITOs. As I bring in Thunderbolts with the anti-tank, the Maverick missiles, and the Burton gun, managing to do quite a bit of damage, but taking a hit by radar AA, so I'm trying to evac it, but it does get shot down. Abrams takes quite a bit of hit from the Mi-24, as I bring up a OH-58 with its Stinger missiles to try to kill the Hind. And last missile fires, takes out the Hind, and the Hind crashes into the ground. Now I'm going to need to repair up my Abrams with his low cohesion and everything. There's a 50 cal squad across, but they're engaged in a 50 cal duel over here. But I'm in the building, so I do have an advantage, as it looks like Nubthers is going to be doing a helicopter rush, firing all of these rocket pods against the enemy, taking out the enemy AA, infantry, basically just wiping out what they all have. Heli Rush is no less cheap and annoying in Warno as it is in Red Dragon. That's what I got out of this. As a Conquerors team is trying to engage against the CV here. Misses, as the Abrams is trying to aim. And fires. Misses the Conquerors team. Conquerors team misses again, so that vehicle is not doing quite well. My Fighting Falcon fires a couple of missiles at the SU-25, but I don't chase anymore, and that Tunguska successfully scares away the F-16 as he's trying to fly back. Another AA missile barely misses as he's evacuating. My Abrams engine is damaged, but I'm bringing up the supply as well as some military police in order to be able to restore his cohesion.
Enemy nearby. Protect the gun.
And after his helicopter push, Nubthers is engaging with his Abrams push. I probably could have pushed up as well, but I want to just hold this position. But the enemy brings in lots of rocket pods, and with this tank and the Su-25, they're able to destroy everything, but he did neutralize Echo, which gave us a +4 advantage. Because I did not have a CV and Echo, they lost the zone completely. So that surprisingly was actually worth it. Even though he lost everything, it put us into a +4 advantage. Now the enemy has to spend emergency points on a CV system when they'd rather spend something on something else. Spend points on something else. Su-25 comes up as my Stingers and Chaparral. Managed to do quite a few hits on it. Finally managing to shoot it down. So yeah, my entire goal was just to not lose my zone. I could have probably pushed better. The BMP-1K is actually in retreat because I'm actually beginning my push as well. As we go into a +5, my Hemishutsen, Engineers, Rangers, I figured, you know, I have all these infantry that are not doing anything. I'm going to move them up, and if I was smart, I'd probably also have grabbed the M113s, but I don't know, these icons can sometimes clutter up your UI, and I probably didn't notice them amongst all the other boxes of blue. But, yeah, I've got a tow cobra that's moving up. The M109s are also going to be engaging against this T-55 that's just holding place here. Stinger missile was trying to engage to see if we can shoot at this rocket heli as my infantry are moving up. T-55 is taking actually quite a pounding against these M109 artillery shells. Pretty deadly damaged. Cohesion seems to be quite bad. And that was the volley, so he's alerted. He's in the retreat. I'm not going to follow up with the volley because he's definitely going to be moving. My Dragons, Rangers, and Hamashutsen are all moving up as the BM-1P comes back in. We are at a +1 advantage, but the tow cobra with its ITO missiles successfully hits a T-55, does about half damage as they're trying to drop artillery to try to stop my push. Military police are also trying to come up, and these military police come with a recoilless rifle as well, so they can actually do a fair amount against tanks, and they also can shoot against infantry. They're like a fire support team, which was a pleasant surprise. Rangers are engaging against the Boltsauce as the tow cobra is continuing to take on the T-55 as that was pushed forward to try to stop the infantry. And he's probably going to lose that. So, unfortunate for him. We've got more mortars coming in, studied up by infantry as they constantly keep shooting the Boltsauce. Don't forget the Hamashutsen do have the, that's not Hamashutsen. They do have the reservists, so they're taking more suppression combat. They're already at low cohesion. All of them are at low cohesion. But the military police hopefully is going to be fixing that. Doesn't look like they're quite in range just yet. And I decided I'm just going to keep running them forward. So once they can't set up their light machine guns, I just want them to go forward, and I want to kill that BMP-1K. The military police are up. We're going to be trying to regenerate the cohesion level. But to try to get the range of the BMP-1K, because we're at +1, I do want to just kill this to get us the additional +1 that this zone would give. As also I have the AH-1F Cobra coming forward. Dragon team fires this Dragon missile, manages to take out the CV, and that gives us the point complete secure. For Delta, I'm trying to figure out how many points Delta is, but looks like I have the how much it's worth covered up by stickers. And then that's the end of the push. So, that is Warno. I actually got a positive kill to loss ratio. I did not heavily rely on artillery, so that was mainly with my pushes and trying to stop the enemy from pushing forward and such. And I will definitely be playing more of this in the future. I don't know how fast I'd be churning them out, but this game certainly showing its promise finally, and I'm looking forward to trying it out. So if you guys enjoyed this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next video.